last night. What was your thoughts on it?
I thought they were terrific, especially the circumstances. Dropping points against Motherwell put that little bit of pressure on as well. I thought they handled it ever so well. Adding the explosive side to them up front in wide areas, I think helped as well. No disrespect to the boys who played. And you've got Big Cyril coming back in the team who likes to run as well. So I thought they were really powerful up front, and the Plzen couldn't handle their directness or pace. And I thought it was a really good performance for Rangers. Although Plzen, they weren't what I thought they were going to be, but you've still got to beat what's put in front of you.
In terms of the recruitment, Elliot, you see from defence all the way to attack, you've seen a time when so much has worked so quickly in a Rangers team, because we've had so many rebuilds of different Rangers teams over the past 3 or 4 different managers, from the wingers to the midfield to the centre half. It all seems to click so quickly. Have you ever seen that happen so quickly?
Yeah, sometimes it takes a wee bit of luck when you get a full team together and you put it together and it blends. It did work last night. It has. Russell will be thinking it's worked pretty quickly, which is great. It's always a good sign. But I think you'll know there's still work to do after Motherwell on. Was it Saturday or Sunday? Was it Motherwell? And I still think they'll realise there's work to do, and I think we'll still see a few more added. But to put that many players in one team, whatever positions they are, and it came to fruition like that, the way it did last night, I think it'll be pretty pleasing for them, especially after searching for answers after the Motherwell performance, because you'll know it doesn't need me to tell Russell Martin that it wasn't great.
Just looking at the second leg of this one, the mentality of going over there 3-0 up, Rangers heavy favourites obviously. What does that mentality need to be like to make sure there is no banana skins when you go over there?
Just don't lose any goal. I can't see them losing this tie. You know, when they go to Panathinaikos 2-0 up, you're thinking, right, it's not done. And you saw with the amount of chances they had. I think Rangers have proven over the last few seasons in Europe that away performances aren't really an issue. I think they can go there and really be hard to beat, but they look as if they'll score more goals as well. So this one I'm not so worried about. So I can see them not cruising, but just putting in a solid performance, and that's going to see them through.
Russell was scathing in his criticism on Saturday, but the things he brought up, saying about ego, self-preservation, he said when things weren't going well, the team tended to implode. He then referred back to it happening before his time in charge. Were those things you noticed when you were in and about that squad towards the end of last season?
I think, honestly, we were starting to change that, because we came, if you remember, I don't have to go through all the results with you, but there were so many games that we came from behind to either draw or win, and that mindset was changing with the group of players we had. All great lads, yeah, some where you were thinking, yeah, they could do better in certain situations, but as a group, I think we were slowly turning that in terms of, and it was factual because the amount of times that we proved that, okay, we've gone a couple of goals down here, we're going to battle back, and we did that. So I think that was already in the group, and then you add those new players he's talking about, and then he takes a chance by having a pop, and he got the answers. He needed that result last night when you do that, and he got it, fair play to him.
How big is that a decision going into a game like last night and leaving James Tavernier out, leaving Nico Raskin out, given what he'd done last season? How, for a new manager, a new coach, how big is that to leave players who've been so influential out of the team?
It's a gamble, there's no doubt, but gambles, it can either go down and you lose, or it pays off. And that's the way it worked out last night for Russell Martin, where he took the gamble, he called them out. Some people say fair play to him, some people think that was a chance taken, but it's worked in his favour because they've gone on and won the game, and the boys he brought in, for big players especially, played well and they won the game handsomely. So there's only one winner last night, but that's got to continue now. And if they keep that mindset and play the way they did, as I said, I know Plzen weren't at their best, but Rangers have still got to beat them. If they continue that, then I'm sure they'll go on and have a decent season.
I suppose that is then the test of maybe what Russell Martin was saying about the players too, whether it's James Tavernier or Nico Raskin, the other guys that were dropped, Danilo, Kieran Dowell, to show that right mentality to make sure that they're still a key part of the squad and can
I
still
think
go
so.
on and make an impression?
I think knowing, I don't know Dill because obviously he was away in loan, but I know Tav and I know Nico, and they've got that in abundance, that they have got the mentality to come back. They're big players, really good players, really professional, and I think they'll come back strong now, maybe even stronger to show, I'll show you.
Well, he talked to us about Lyle Cameron because he came on at the weekend as something. He was one of the players that got a bit of praise from Russell Martin, and then he had a big occasion last night starting and played well. How big a deal was that for him in terms of putting his mark on the start of his Rangers career?
Yeah, big. I would say I'm not surprised that he played like that though. I think we all know how technical he is. He wanted the ball. He's not scared to take the ball in any position. His movement off it, his energy, his industry, but his technical ability was there to be seen. And I think it was a big game for him, but I knew he would handle it because, not just because it's Rangers in a Champions League qualifier, but because he's in the team and Raskin's out and he's taking his position. But that made it even more special for Lyle Cameron, where he's gone in there and he's played brilliantly. So I'm not surprised by it, and I think sometimes you're better going under the radar. He's not a huge name signing, and he just goes and takes it in his stride. I thought he was excellent.
Ant-Man making his debut straight off the bat, and Gassama with another few goals. Are they the type of players Rangers have missed in the last few years, those sort of direct players? That
Wasn't bad, just been practically thrown off the aeroplane right onto the pitch. I thought it was excellent. I think it's a side that I've spoken to Neil McCann about it a bit, and no disrespect to anybody who played there, but they needed that explosiveness, needed that pace, needed that running energy, and I think with the three they had last night, Gassama, Ant-Man and Big Cyril back in the team who loves to run beyond, I think they were really good in that era, and it showed, and they blew Pilsen away, but those three were a big part in it as well. So brilliant display from Ant-Man, has to keep it going. Wingers can be inconsistent, I wouldn't expect that all the time, but the two wingers that Rangers have brought in have certainly shown so far that they're more than capable.
there was a wee bit of talk about Cyril Dessers moving on at a stage this summer, but he goes in last night and performs on a big night. Sort of in your dealings with him, how much of an enigma is he to deal with, because it is inconsistencies from the story?
I wouldn't say he's an enigma. I would say Cyril Dessers is an absolute pleasure to work with. He is a sponge. He wants to learn. He works ever so hard out in the training ground, always staying out, just ask you questions, wanting to try and pick your brain. An absolute brilliant guy. You say one of the best professionals you work with, the guy is up there. He will not hide from anybody, even in hard times, and I'm not surprised that again he came in last night and did what he did and got his goal. That is just him. He doesn't hide from anybody, and that's nothing but plaudits to him.
I think he could be a key player for Russell Martin if he ends up staying this summer.
Yeah, it's whether Rangers want him to stay or no. I think Russell Martin said there's been an offer made. It doesn't suit Rangers, so it's a case of he stays until somebody can come up with the right offer. If it doesn't come, then he stays, and I think that'll be beneficial to Rangers. I really do.
Pleasure.
Brilliant, thank
Thanks,
you.
pal. Appreciate it.
All right, boys.